homeschoolers. Welcome back to the land of Yak. My name is Laurel, and I want to talk to you today about how to train your child to plan for themselves, right? So I've made a video about this before. I'll link it down below just so you can see it, but I've done a little bit more thinking and laid things out in a nice little document for myself to put into my planner to remind myself of where I'm going. And I thought I should share that with people in case they want if they want to follow this plan, or maybe they just want a little inspiration. This will be linked for you down below, and it's printable and it's free. And of course, anything that's underlined, when you open it up, it is a link to a product. So I just thought, let's just go through this real quick. I think it's pretty self-explanatory why it's so beneficial for your child, for themselves, and also for you as their homeschool parent, for them to be gaining ground and independence and the ability to plan and strategize over time. And that's a skill that will not only benefit them in their schoolwork, but in their, life. Maybe they become business owners themselves. There's nobody telling them what to do. They need to be comfortable and confident in how to be masters of their own time and goals. Okay, so let's just start with step 1, pre-K. I would say this is called the imitation stage for my kids, where, they're not really responsible for plans or anything, but I want them to sit down and have some practice, like a habit of in the morning, sitting down and putting, pencil or pen to paper, and just working for a little bit and focusing their mind. They could color, they could do a fine motor tracing workbook, or sheets, or they could draw. And these are links to products that, I've actually used in my homeschool. So kindergarten, I would say just start off with a to-do list. This is a link to a cute kitty's little to-do list that I found on Amazon, but you can use, anything. I have this little notebook with me that I'll use just for demonstration purposes. Kitty cat. You're going to make the to-do list for them from your own parent planner. So this is a link to my planner that I love and I created myself. It just has everything I need in it. You're going to look at your own plans because you're probably going to be making a weekly plan. I plan weekly. It's as far ahead as I can get of myself. And then you're just going to make them a list. So this is Monday, let's say, for them, right? Whatever, reading, right? Maybe working in our McGuffies. We're doing our writing at this age. It's probably, like copy work for us, and arithmetic. So we're going to work in our math workbook, and we're going to do flashcards. That's Monday. And then I like to take some kind of highlighter and give them a little box to check. And that helps their eye find where to line up with what's going on here. And then you're just going to remind them, because you're probably doing a reading lesson with them. I was like, okay, go ahead and check off your reading. All right, okay, they do the copy work based off their reading probably, and then they bring it to you to check. You go over that with them, and they say, okay, that's done. Go ahead and check that off and move on. So, okay, math work. Okay, so you're going to probably be going through that kind of stuff with them, right? You can even say flashcards, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, and they can set their little timers. You can just check at the end of the day, is everything checked off? And if it is, maybe they get a little sticker, that goes on their sticker book, or maybe just goes here on the side, or I don't know. My kids liked it even if I just gave them a star, right? Like they liked they liked this kind of reinforcement. So we're also going to acknowledge, right, that they followed through on their plans and they succeeded. They made a plan, they executed it, and that is to be rewarded. Good job. Next is first grade. So again, we're still doing our to-do list, made daily and checked off by the child, right? So that's not new. Parent dictates, though. Parent checks at end of day. So parent dictates means instead of me writing this out for them, I'm going to now just tell my child in the morning what to write. So now they're on Tuesday. Mom, how do I spell Tuesday? I actually write the full on the board every morning. I write the full day. I'd write, Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. So they never have to ask me. They can just look at the board. If they ask me, I'll say, I'll point at the board. Okay, so now you're going to say it to them. Okay, reading, copy work. They can start abbreviating if they want to. Math and flashcards, right? Maybe you're not doing the exact same reading assignment every day, because we don't. We like loop through some resources. So maybe you make sure it's reading, and we're doing McGuffey revised, the revised book today. They may need help learning how to do this at first. It took a couple times of me just writing it down and letting my child like copy it into their planner. But now, they know. Then they knew how to write it, and it wasn't a big deal. And then they get to use the highlighters now, which is exciting to them. They like doing this checkbox thing. I mean, you may have something that has boxes on it, but I would even say maybe even still highlight the boxes because it just draws their eye in. It's easier to see, and they like the color, and they like to use the highlighters. Okay, so in first grade, I also teach them the 2 highlighter method, and that's what this is. Let's say they're working through, after they do everything, they like to check it off. Let's say they didn't get to their flashcards. Something came up. So something like that, flashcards, 10 minutes. Since that's something my kid would do every single day anyways, I'd say if it's something like that, it's not worth doubling up to like 20 minutes the next day. That's just not effective. So to me, that's not a big deal. And I wouldn't like check it off, but I would just cross it off, like don't worry about it, right? So like the next day, we always have them look back the day before to see if there's anything missed. But what if there was something on there, like we do science and history, but we don't do them every day. So let's say we had history on there, which is a family subject that we do together, and for some reason we didn't get to history. Well, that's something that when my kids look back, the next morning, say it's Wednesday, right? And we're like, okay, it's Wednesday. First I look back, I take a different highlighter color. They're gonna highlight anything that was missed. And then we go through, okay, well, what are we doing today? We're always gonna do reading. We're gonna read our original, McGuffey original reader. For us, like on days that we do the McGuffey original, we do our gentle grammar, and then we always do math workbook, and we're going to do our math flashcards for 10 minutes. Usually say I didn't have anything extra planned that day, so I'm going to add now history. Or you can just leave it like that, and they just know to check off anything highlighted. It's kind of nice just to keep it all together if you can. Okay. Yeah, whenever we start a new day, we check, did we miss anything from yesterday, and does that need to be added to today's list? We always do our 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic first, and then anything else can get added on, right? We can always do extra stuff later or skip it. It's not as big a deal, but we just want to make sure we're prioritizing reading, writing, and arithmetic, especially in the early grade. They are checking it off, and I'm still checking at the end of the day to make sure everything is done, right? Because sometimes they may just have forgot to check it off. They actually did it, but they just didn't check it. I'm like, did you not do your math workbook? If it wasn't checked. If it really wasn't done, then I'll say, okay, well, do your math workbook really quick. I'm not going to let you go out to recess or whatever until that's done. We move on to second grade. So we're still having a daily morning planning meeting. So the parent dictates to child what goes into a simple planner. So in second grade, I graduate them from little to-do lists like this, and I give them a real planner. I just want it to be simple. I only want to spend like, $5 or something simple. I said it's simple planner. I think I linked to something like very similar to this on Amazon that I found. And theirs looks like this. I like when my week is spread, I can open it up and it makes like 2-page spread for the week and I can just see everything. I like that. So you can see this is how my oldest son writes his stuff out. For some reason, he's doing Christmas in a different highlighting color. I don't know why. He is. That's whatever. But these are his 2 highlighters that he keeps with for our 2 highlighter method. Like, right, one's usually for the checkbox and one's to highlight things that are missed. And I just don't like I just don't need a lot of fluff. I don't need a lot of stuff at this point. I just want to get them. He likes to draw on it. Isn't it cute? So this one, we just basically only use the month pages and the weekly pages. That's all we really use these for. But they like it, and I keep it. My kids have these little, I don't know if you see that, these little book holders. And so it just sits like that, and it literally just sits. We flip it over to whatever side. It sits like this on there, like all day. It's just right in front of them. And so they can just look up and see what they need to do next, check it off. And I really like those book holders. I'll link those for you too, because we use them literally all the time. They're really helpful too when we do family subjects, like our nature anatomy or our ocean anatomy that we're going to be doing when they're sharing a main book, but they have their own notebooks to work in. It's nice to have those book holders to hold open the book and like put it in the middle of them. or any other reference book. It's really nice to have it out so they can just look up at something while they're working on something in front of them. Okay, so they get their own simple planner this year, second grade. They feel it's pretty cute. I don't know. My boys really liked it. They wanted their own planners at this point, and something to make more their own. You saw they're like drawing in it and stuff. Where's my other sons? I'll show you. It was similar, but I wanted them to look a little bit different so they're not confusing. But yeah, like when he's done for the day, he just crosses off this whole big sheet. And then they line up over here. Yeah, here's one where he was highlighting the check boxes, and then he highlighted some stuff he didn't do. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect because at this age, I'm making sure that they're staying on track. Okay, here's a day we missed a bunch of stuff. Okay, so they've got their own planner this year, and I like to include appointments and extracurricular activities. So I'd like to let them know if, like, when they have taekwondo and stuff like that, to write that in their planner. So they may be doing, usually we have taekwondo on Monday. Let's say he's doing his subjects over here, right? Let's just say that's what we had on the agenda that day. He'd go back through and he'd go highlight my little check boxes so they stand out a little more. But then I remind him that we also have, right over here is activities, taekwondo at 6:10. So I want him to start incorporating not just his to-do list at school, but his planner can encompass his whole life. So we want to remember whatever we're doing, we got to get done because we got to eat and get out of the house. We got to leave by, 6 or whatever to get to taekwondo. Or if there was a doctor's appointment, right in the middle of the day, we want to write that there because we may only be able to get through the first 3 subjects, go to the doctor's office, come back and do the rest. We just like to have our minds kind of wrapped around the day. So, of course, I'm keeping track of this stuff. I'm not expecting him to, tell me it's time to go. But I just want him to get in the habit of writing it down and being aware that there's more to do than just schoolwork in the day, right? You can also have them write down here chores. And I have a chore list in the kitchen. And we tend to do our chores at lunchtime. We all go in there, we eat, we check the chore list for the day. And it's the same every week. It's just the same thing over and over. Every day is a different thing. But then I set the timer for 15 minutes, and they should be done with whatever their chore is. It should only take about 15 minutes. It's something usually in the house, and then they get to go outside and have a break for 30 minutes. That's how I do it. It's about 30 minutes to eat, 15 minutes of chores, 30 minutes of free time, and then back to school. All right, so then I would say that my second grader is actually already on the third grade level now because he was doing so well with just the morning planning and I have an older son in 6th grade who was ready. He didn't need me to do this every morning with them. They can write faster. They know what they're doing at that point. So now we're actually into this step where we are just doing a Monday morning weekly planning meeting. So I look at my plans that I usually, do my weekly plan on, over the weekend or maybe like on Friday or Sunday or whatever the last day of our school day is. And then I just tell the kids, I'll go through what each one needs to do and I just dictate it to them and they write it. I usually do my oldest son first because he writes faster, and doesn't have so many spelling questions. So I do him first and then he goes and then my youngest, I go through his with him. But we get our weekly plan mapped out. Oh, hi, Kitty. And I don't remind him to check things off anymore. Sometime around 2nd or 3rd grade, I don't remind them. I don't need to anymore. They're trained. They're checking their own stuff off. And I just glance at the end of the day when they say, Mom, I'm done. I say, okay, let me see your list. Then next is, say 7th grade. So at this point, this is then my next step I'm actually taking with my oldest. So 7th grade is a Monday morning weekly planning meeting. So we're still doing weekly. The child is given one subject or assignment to plan themselves at a time. So I am giving him his to-do list stuff, but maybe there is a book or a workbook or something he'll be working through. Or what is something he's actually going to use next year? Here's something maybe a little bit older. But I think that a lot of these resources they can completely do on their own, right? So he doesn't really need me. If he's working in Saxon, all he has to do is write Saxon every single day of the week, right? and then and like Bible every single day of the week. And there may be some special things like that I want him to do that I'm still planning. But then if there's something really simple like this, like how to write a 5-paragraph essay, he already knows. He's already done one on paragraph writing, sentence writing, paragraph writing, some different skills, and he's ready to go into this. He can be given this and say, I'm like, okay, I want you to plan your week. What are you going to work on for the week? And I want him to have some time to look at it, and he can read the introduction himself. And I'm going to have read this before I give the introduction. I'm going to have done a little look through and kind of see what it is. But I'm going to let him try to plan this himself. It says this workbook teaches how to write a 5-paragraph essay. Like the workbook itself, if you get something that does the teaching for you, like why do you need to plan? You know what I mean? You kind of do it first just to keep them actually doing it, but he can make this decision of what he's going to be doing every day. And he has the example that I've set for him by planning these resources for him in the past, that I just write what pages to do. That's all I've told him in the past, right? I want you to do pages 9 and 10 or whatever, right? 9, 10, and 11. So he can look through and say, okay, part 1 is essay planning, and he can start working his way through that. Now, if he wants at the beginning help, if he needs some support, that's, I'm happy to give my opinion about stuff. Or he can just see how the first week goes, see how far he gets, see how it goes. And then, we can discuss that at the end of the week when we check his planner. So the parent gives a time frame, right? So I'm probably going to give a week. I'm just assuming that I'm going to do this 1 week, planning at a time that he's responsible for. I also might be also something like read one of your book list books in 2 to 3 weeks, right? And submit chapter notes, book summary, right at the end. And parent checks the student planner at the end of the week. So I want him to make his own reading plan, right? He's going to read for 1 hour? Is he going to read for a certain amount of pages? Because I say, if I want you to read When London Burned in 2 to 3 weeks, right? I say, okay, I got a new book. All right, how many pages is this? I want him to do this kind of thinking, right? Okay, this is 403 pages. How can I reasonably do that in 2 weeks or 3 weeks? And let him do the math on the pages. Let him start figuring out those logistics for himself. That's what he's already had years of examples, right? And me talking about it. And let's see him. He's got he should have the ideas, but see him work it out himself, right? My first thing I gave them to plan, I wouldn't all by themselves. I wouldn't make it something really involved. Like I wouldn't say, okay, because we do the good and the beautiful for family subjects. I wouldn't necessarily say here, plan our family history subject for the week. I would just do it something that only he is responsible. It's only his work, not something that's going to affect anyone else. So then we can, I'll check that at the end of the week. So for us, because we do 6 days a week of school, Sunday, we do Monday through Friday, right? Those 5 days are pretty normal. And then Saturday off, and then Sunday I consider our last day of the week, and that's the day we do any spelling tests, vocab tests, turning in any type of writing assignments that they've been working on in the week that I just want the final draft submitted on Sunday. Like even if they got done with it on Wednesday, I'd just be like, hold on to it, give it to me on Sunday, because that's my wrap up day and when I want things turned in and I want to check things over. I record anything I need to record. So that's a good day, since it's kind of a wrap-up record-keeping day, for me to check in on how that week went with them and did they meet their goals. And if they didn't, then maybe they need to think about, okay, well, what are you going to do next week? Are you going to change anything about the way you were doing stuff, or what worked out, what didn't? Let them wrestle with that. I don't want to just tell him what to do to change it. I want him to have some set aside time that Sunday on wrap up day where he thinks it through a little bit, and then he can make himself any notes or anything, and then the next day is Monday, and he's going to plan his next week, and he can try to apply any potential solutions that he thought up on Sunday. And there may be something he needs help with, like, Mom, I couldn't meet this because it was really distracting me because you guys were watching videos on whatever with the younger kids for their class, and I was really interested in that. It kept catching my attention. And so then we may need to talk about other classroom logistics since we're all in the same schoolroom, or like what time of day we do stuff. Okay, so then 8th grade, so Monday morning weekly planning meeting. So we're still doing our Monday morning meeting. Child is given weekly goals, and child plans each subject in pencil, right? I was like, go in pencil, and parent checks for reasonableness, right? So we're going to give him weekly goals for each subject. I'm probably going to give him those goals, and then he's going to plan it, and I'm going to take a look at it to make sure it's reasonable. The parent then checks that everything has been completed at the end of the week. So we're still doing basically the same thing as the year before, but I'm just letting him plan all his subjects at this point, right? Because I should be moving him into more and more independent work by 8th grade. I mean, I don't know what I really need to be. I don't think I'll be teaching him anything. It's not like when they're little and you're teaching them how to read. He knows how to read. He should have good comprehension. I should be able to give him resources, right, and assignments or whatever that are primarily just independent work that he can just do. So he should be able just to plan those types of things. So I am careful about the resources that I pick for my kids. He doesn't pick his resources. I'm still picking their resources and their classes and their subjects, but I'm giving him those resources now and the freedom to plan his own schedule. And the fact that we are year-round homeschoolers, I'm never concerned about us being behind, in anything. In fact, we're probably like going to end up always being it's more likely that we're ahead of our counterparts, Okay, 9th grade. So we are now moving from a weekly planning meeting to a monthly planning meeting. And don't forget, they're still writing in their appointments and everything, right? So child and parent determine monthly goals for each subject. So we're going to meet once at the beginning of the month, set goals for each subject, and my child is going to plan accordingly, right? I want them to tell me if they need something from me at this point, then at this point, they might be telling me to put things on my planner. They might be like, it would be good to do a field trip on this one. Maybe they want to start making requests about places to go, things to see, materials. Maybe they want to have an independent project this year where they are model building, and so they ask me if I can order them some models or, so we're starting to get now more back and forth, right? This is getting more collaborative. And then the child keeps track of completed work to be checked at the end of the month. So instead of giving me stuff every week to check, they're going to be responsible. They're going to come up with their own system for keeping their work and things that I'm going to be checking for them at the end of the month. I'm hoping that they're getting more and more independent and that this is going to free up a lot of my time, with the older ones. And I'm probably because I'm still going to be busy with younger kids. I cannot be micromanaging 3 kids for K through 12. That's crazy. The older ones have to be graduating up to where they're managing themselves, but they're still accountable to me and dad, right? So I check against their planner. So I'm using their own planner that they're keeping their records and their track of stuff in, and then I'm using that to check that they, against their work, that whatever that is has been completed and is good quality too, right? The only thing I would say would be an exception is if they're like essay writing and stuff like that, that they need more, you want them to be bringing you their essays, to check, then that's fine. We want to be able to give them feedback that they need in real time, especially during the writing process I feel like that's different than the other subjects like math. They can just keep chugging along. If a lesson they don't do well enough, they just repeat it and they can check it themselves. They don't really, you either get the answer right or you don't, you know what I mean? If they're having trouble and they ask me, I cannot get through this lesson, they may ask me to help them find online tutoring videos or, help reach out to find a resource to help them. That's fine. I'm not saying I refuse to help or do anything all month. But for the most part, if there's stuff that they're just independently working through, like research projects, papers, stuff like that, just give it to me at the end of the month. More daily things like editing, revising. Although I will say that he's gonna do this, how to edit and revise your essay. So he should be able to do quite a bit himself, right? But I would like to see his final drafts. Okay, so then 10th grade. I mean, by 10th grade, they should be pretty mature. They might even be getting their driver's license this year. They might be having a job. They might be babysitting. They may be mowing lawns for all your neighbors. Like, they should have a good level of independence and responsibility by 10th grade for sure. So we are going to move into quarterly planning meetings. So my child will propose his quarterly goals and planning meetings for the year to the parent at our first planning meeting. So at the beginning of the year, we're going to get together with our planners. They're going to tell me what their goals are for the year. So, they've got their resources, and I'm going to let them determine some goals, talk to me about those. They're going to make their own, weekly plans. And they're actually even going to tell me, can these be our quarter dates? So we're going to have our first meeting and 3 more quarterly planning meetings where we check in and kind of have our own little student teacher conference, right? About every 3 months. And of course, I'm still going to be here every day. They need me to edit a paper, or if they need a ride to the library or whatever. Of course, I'm here. I'm facilitating that their goals can be met. But, I'm looking for them more to tell me what they need versus me telling them every little thing to do. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking quarterly planning to me is probably pretty much where I'm always going to want to have check-ins. I just cannot see myself just saying, just do your thing. Hopefully, because also we've got to be keeping in touch, because I've got to every year, register with the Homeschool Association to let them know what classes there are and, stuff like that. I need feedback from them if a resource I have for them isn't serving them well, if it's confusing, if it's frustrating for some reason. I need that feedback so we can switch it out, or, so that I can be of help in any way that I can. Okay, so this is my train your child to plan step by step and a long-winded explanation. I also did, I think here when I put student planner, these are links to, versus the simple planner that they had earlier on. They may want to let them get something that they love and that they want to plan in. That was really important to me personally, for myself, that I loved my planner and wanted to get in there and write in it, and that it was satisfying to me as its own project to do. So let them, start them out simple, but if they want more, some kids are more into their planners than other kids, right? Some people want to do writing in their planners. They want to do pictures. They want to do stickers. They want to do, let them enjoy it. So find a planner that they love, brings them some joy and keeps them on track at the same time, right? You can do both. Sometimes, I feel like the boys, they want to be able to express themselves, And actually, a planner is a good way to do that. Let them pick out a planner that they feel expresses something about themselves. Okay, well, happy planning, everybody. Check the description box. I'll leave as many links as I can think of that are helpful for this process. If you have any favorite student planners or favorite methods, leave us a comment so we can all check them out. And happy homeschooling.